All right, Black Friday in the hunting and shooting sports space. It's super fun because it's a little bit old school of the days where you actually had to go into the store and wait in line. And a lot of that's because of the regulatory stuff, right? If you're buying a firearm, you've got to be there to pay for it. So it's exciting. You'll still see lines at 6 a.m. at outdoor stores, at gun shops, and for those bulkier items, deer stands, that kind of thing. But let's talk about what are some tools that manufacturers can use to really grow their game day sales here starting in Black Friday through the holidays, because you've got a teeny window. And if your stock levels are off at the dealer level, right, you're missing so many sales. And if your consumers don't know what dealers have items in stock, they're just like lost in the wind and set up for disappointment. So to kick that off, right, if you're a manufacturer and you've got a dealer locator, that typical experience, I'm looking for a specific product, for my wife, for my son. I'm on your website, I see the item, and then I see a long list of dealers. And, you stop by there on the way home from work and they're like, well, we don't sell that item, but we have their hats and some of their accessories. But let me sell you this other thing, right? It doesn't know the inventory and it's just a bad consumer experience. So, Ryan, what would you say is the value of a real-time live inventory dealer locator where I'm a consumer on the manufacturer site and I know.
I mean, I think the cool thing here is that, as we've been talking about for the past few weeks that we've been doing this, is that the technology, the consumer technology that is in pretty much every other space in retail is finally coming to the firearm space, right? It's really cool. But I think the main thing to keep in mind here, you hit the nail on the head, right? The classic model of a dealer locator is going to put me in a position where I'm getting ready to leave the office. I know what I'm trying to pick up on my way home, and I'm given a list of 7 or 8 different shops that are between me and the house. And now my option is pick one out of a hat and head there and hope that my item is there, or call each one of those stores. So I think from a retailer side too, there's a lot of benefits because it's really easy. I'm a retailer, right? I've got Ryan's Gun Shop, and I change my voicemail message on my phone system to say, hey, I'm sorry we weren't able to answer the phone. It's Black Friday. It's crowded. The store, there's a line out the door. I don't have time to answer the phone. However, I've got live inventory on my website. Go to www.ryansguns.com or whatever it is. And then now when that dealer locator comes up, I can see across all 7 of those dealers that I was referenced earlier, which ones physically have that item in stock, which ones are drop shipping that item. I can see if there's maybe a range that I can go blow off some steam, try my gun out, and then purchase. So all that data is now available to me as a retailer to share with my consumer. And, as a consumer, I'm sure there's benefits there too, right?
Yeah, 100%. Number one, it's you're bypassing the line because you can go straight from the manufacturer's item listing to the dealer and pick it buy for in-store pickup. And then the other nice thing is in the industry, there's a lot of disappointment, right? We're having to train the consumer. Hey, no, no, no. Because of drop shipping, they've always been, wary of, oh, hey, this is in stock, right? Because then it takes a week to ship there. It shows on the website is in stock, but it's shipping from a third party. This bypasses that and is showing actual in-store inventory. So, strong, yeah, on hand, like, oh, cool. Literally buy in store for pickup today, not buy in store for pickup and, maybe get it in a week or two. Yeah. So it's just great all along that sales life cycle.
I think for me, I think everybody probably knows pretty much at this point I'm a gun guy. And it's one of those things, especially as a gun guy, you don't have any really specific affiliations with a certain brand. I mean, I know some guys do. I don't. I like across the board, just different stuff. And I know if I have a wad of cash in my pocket and I go into a store and I'm looking for X, but Y is presented to me, I'll probably take Y. And in the back of my mind, I'm like, oh, I'll grab X next time. And as a manufacturer, if you're X, you want me leaving with X, not Y. And so I think that's a critical point too.
And the other piece, so we're getting that product directly connected with the consumer that wants it, But tell me a little bit about the sales velocity tool for manufacturers, because so much of the business is done in this 2 to 3 week period, and the lost sales of top dealers not having enough stock is a huge issue that no one has visibility on really except us, and you if you're a customer of Buying Freedom Group.
Yeah, I think, I'll try, and this could be an hour-long conversation in itself, the sales velocity tool, but I'll try and shrink it down as best I can into maybe 90 seconds. Essentially, what we've got in the sales velocity tool is the ability to understand the velocity of sales that are happening at a retailer outlet so that manufacturing can ensure that the inventory allocations for future state sales are already counted for and already headed to a retailer. So basically, what we have the ability to do is look at the historical data, whether that's across, as we enter Black Friday and the Christmas and holiday shopping season, right? We can say, great, last year, the year before, and the year before, what were our velocities across this certain subset of retailers? And now we can make predictive analytic decisions to say, okay, if we sold this many guns, if our sales ramped up by X, then we need to make sure that we have the allocations to get to those stores prior to those consumers actually swiping their credit cards, to make sure that, again, we don't run out of stock at those locations, because then those buyers are not necessarily, but there's a high likelihood they will switch to some different brand or some different firearm, or pick something else up if they arrive at a store that doesn't have inventory. So I think that's like the best way I can say it very quickly.
Yeah. Yeah, and again, that is item specific and dealer specific, right? So across, a thousand-ish dealers, if you're a manufacturer, you've got the power to make sure that they don't sell out of your top selling product on, the Tuesday after Cyber Monday, right? It's like, hey, you're giving that dealer the data and POs to say, hey, historically, you need this many units of these 50 items from us to maximize your profit. So it's a win for the dealers too, because they're getting, top tier enterprise analytics in their mom and pop gun shop.
Yeah, and a lot of mom and pop, I think, is a good little segue there to start talking a little bit about, in my experience, a lot of the mom and pop gun shops, and this isn't just gun shops. This is, I've dealt with automotive sectors before. I've dealt with a lot of different sectors in retail, and when you start talking about locally owned businesses, I think that's the proper way to say it, right? Mom and pop shops. Those individuals didn't start a small business in order to become e-commerce experts. Plain and simple. I don't know anybody that started a small business selling X that said, man, I really, really want to sell shoes because I can't wait to get into e-commerce. That's just not the way it goes. However, it is a necessary evil. And so for a lot of those people that don't have a really high, I don't want this to feel rude in any way, but a really high technical acumen for the e-commerce space, which is why we hire, all of us hired developers, right? I'm not a developer either. Even we've hired developers. So whether you're a mom and pop, mid-sized business, all the way up to enterprise, whatever you're doing for your e-commerce is significant. But at that lower level, for those uh, we'll call them non-technical experts, the ecosystem of Buying Freedom Group, the way it works and the way it connects a retailer and a manufacturer together, from the retailer standpoint, there's a backlink there. So anytime I come to your website and I say, I'm really looking for this very specific item, right? I'm looking for a sub 2000 from Keltec. When I look that up, I'm getting that link directly from the manufacturer fed to your website. And so you are getting an SEO boost from that. And I know that, SEO is the name of the game. I don't care if you're a big business or a small business, you definitely understand what SEO means. And we're giving you some lift in your SEO without you having to actually lift a finger or do anything technical, which is really cool.
Yeah. Awesome. Yeah, so I think that's the great thing, right? It's the dealer locator is getting the products in the people's hands that want it. That velocity tool is giving the dealers the inventory they need to keep that dealer locator up to date through the sales cycle. And then, the little cherry on top, which we'll tease, is that direct ordering, right, where manufacturers can actually link their inventory to the dealer. So, probably a little late for this Black Friday, but shoot us a note. If you're a manufacturer, you want to get that in stock dealer locator spun up, you want some of that data from the market ahead of the rest of this season, drop us a line.
Yeah, don't forget, it's definitely not too late to have the live inventory dealer locator ready, spun up, all your images, all your SKUs and your UPCs set up, have all, beautiful, all your logos, et cetera, so that you can show it off at SHOT Show. There's still plenty of time for that, so definitely reach out and let us know how we can help.